Happy birthday, it's September, you are aging like a wine. And if your day is on the 9th, you have the most popular of all time. You were cooking since December, you were made at Christmas time. And like Frosty, you were molded and thrust into sentient life. Happy birthday, it's September, you are the product of Christmas f***ing. Happy birthday, it's September, stuffed into a stocking.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, September 7th, 2023. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tess Mellis.
Podcast listeners, this is for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Heyo.
Heyo. And last but not least,
Thanks.
over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer, JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. What was that? Oh, you got a little Nick there shaving this morning?
Yes, my friend Nick was on my neck.
Shout out to the stream team for joining us live on YouTube. Like the vid, comment away, subscribe if you haven't done that already. And hey, go to nodunks.com. Get your No Dunks gear. Back to school specials. Like this brand new No Dunk shirt. I love this pod. Oh, you can get it in a hoodie too. But yeah, go to nodunks.com. We got lots of gear over there.
Beautiful. Very nice.
That was some of the best parts about going back to school. All the new clothes.
Oh, yeah, I love going new clothes shopping. Always get a belt every year. Why?
Weird.
Belt.
Yeah, it lasts for more than a year usually. Got to get a new one.
Interesting. All right, well, we got lots to talk about. We actually have some NBA questions. Yes, believe it or not, we're going to talk a little NBA on this pod. We have Tweet of the Night, X of the Night, whatever you want to call it at the end. But we start with some FIBA World Cup talk. We've been having a blast watching a ton of it on playback. Thanks to everybody who's joined us live. And we are down to the Final Four. Our semifinals are on Friday. We're going to be up very early on playback for the Canada versus Serbia game at 4:45 a.m. That's on Friday, because we had Canada beat Slovenia to reach the semis as Luka got ejected. Let's go through all four of these quarterfinals games, and then we can maybe make some predictions when it comes to the semis. But Canada moves on task to the World Cup semifinals for the first time ever. Big achievement here for Team Canada.
That's why we're starting with Canada. They may not be the favorite going into the semifinals, but they're the best story right now. And you got to lead with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Can you say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? No, I can't. Shai has been phenomenal. He's left me a little speechless. I do have some concerns going into the semifinal. I am a bit of a concerned Canadian because he's had to do so damn much. And it's not just scoring. You think of Shai, okay, maybe he's just getting to the line, maybe he's doing his thing, but it's not just the scoring. I went back and watched everything he's doing the last couple minutes of this game. The last minute, he jumped over everybody for a defensive board. This 6'6" guy just went and got it. Then he scored an and one at the other end. Then he comes back to force a miss at the rim on the defensive end. Then he went and got an offensive rebound over two defenders at the other end and put it back. And he just seemed a little exhausted at times. Serbia's got that extra day of rest. I'm a little concerned. 30 points in back-to-back elimination games. Serbia's going to be ready, but he just impacted everything. In a game against Luka Doncic, he was the best player on the floor. And the rebound numbers are phenomenal. He led the team in offensive rebounds. He had 10 overall. With his 31 points. I just wonder if he has a bit of a quiet night, it might happen. Even though he has been so good, I just hope the Canadians will help him out. But anyway, so far at this point, I feel like he's the best player in the tournament.
It was a weird game, this Canada-Slovenia game, because it was so entertaining in the first half. It was a high-scoring affair. There was a bit of a flow to it. There was 18 lead changes in the first half alone. And then Trey, the second half happened. And it was a slog. Yeah, whistle after whistle and complaining after complaining, and it led to two ejections, Dylan Brooks, and then not long after, Luka. But what'd you think of Canada's performance here throughout the tournament and this game in particular?
I thought it was awesome. I thought Shai was great. Like Tassa said, the guy did everything. We talked earlier in the World Cup that Shai kind of plays it cool in the first half and then tries to take over in the second half, and that was not the case against Slovenia. He came out looking for a shot, scoring quite a bit in the first half of this game. Slovenia was hot from 3, but then they went cold in the second half, and they were thrown completely out of rhythm with fouls back and forth on each side of the court.
Yeah.
Canada went to the line so many times. Understandable. Honestly, why Luka Doncic was getting frustrated in this game. Canada was getting a lot of calls, and Dylan Brooks was all up in Luka for the entirety of the game until he got kicked out as well. But man, Luka is just the best in the world at complaining. There's nobody better right now. And when you throw Dylan Brooks on him to exacerbate it, it just takes it over the edge. But I thought that was a really fun game, and I thought a great second half from RJ Barrett in particular. He was kind of the second scorer there. He was hitting the glass as well. He kind of struggled in the first half, and they needed somebody else to carry the offense alongside SGA, and it turned out to be RJ.
Yeah. I like that he shot 22 times. It sounds like a really big number, but they just needed it. So you got 24 points on 22 shots. Not the most efficient, but you just need him to be super aggressive. When RJ is a little passive, then you're kind of screwed. And to go along with Shea going to the line 16 times because he was aggressive, and there's no doubt Canada was getting some calls in that third quarter. And Luka was, had the right to be a little
Luka
peeved.
let the poor officiating affect him, and it spread to his entire team. I mean, it was like everybody was whining and complaining, and he is the leader. He talked about it a little bit after the game, and probably, I mean, we see this in the NBA with Luka. I mean, he needs a Temper Boy shirt. That's the honest truth. Because he sort of snaps, and he's once again doing the money sign up to the FIBA executives, and he's sort of lucky he lasted as long as he did in this game before picking up the second tech. It could have been called like 5 times prior, and they sort of let it go, because FIBA officials, you know, they don't care. They're like, we're going to officiate you once and you'll never see us again. It's not like an NBA official where you're going to see them time after time after time and you maybe build up a rapport. They don't care. They're usually like, you look at me funny, I'm going to call you for an unsportsmanlike or whatever, or taunting or whatever. So he lasted 29 minutes, 26 points, but some of that, I would like to give some credit to Dylan Brooks. Like you said, he's physical, he's irritating, he knows it, but he held Luka to like 4 of 14 shooting in the 2-point line. And he was chipping in on the offensive end before Brooks himself got thrown out for like whisper taunting, the whisper trash talk to the Slovenian player. And then that was just a second, and then he was gone. And suddenly he's in the hallway with boxing gloves on, bouncing around after the victory. He's a weird cat. He is a weird dude.
He's a weird guy.
But he's played really well for Team Canada on both ends.
He's not a real person. To be in the hallway.
Not real.
I mean, it's like AI programmed him. Okay, he's going to Manila. He's a physical guy. Put gloves on him. That makes sense. A thriller in Manila. He was waiting for somebody to come into the hallway. But at the end of it all, Luka came back on the floor. Dylan Brooks came back on the floor, and they all shook hands. Not with boxing gloves on, just with their regular hands. And they walked off. But Luka got outplayed. He definitely let it get to him. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, again, the best player on the floor. And I think back to Luka being the guy who took the Mavs to the conference finals. He was doing it all, and he was putting the team on his back, and that's what Shai did. The offensive boards, the playmaking, everything. And so I can't say enough about that guy. He did get help from Brooks, Barrett, and Lou Dort for sure.
Yeah, and Nikhil Alexander-Walker, who's had like a lot of good games. There was one sort of stinker within this run, but he was good in that game against Slovenia. Just final thought on SGA. Like we're always talking about, like he's so fun just to watch, like how he moves, because he does like slither. A lot of people say. To me, in this game in particular, especially when he's like going on the fast break and going between guys, he's like a motorcycle on the highway, like through rush hour traffic, like cars parked everywhere, and he's just zipping around them. He's got that fluidity of a motorbike going between lanes and still keeping up somewhat of a speed. It's just so much fun to watch, and he's been better than even I thought, or that we thought he could be, I think. He's gone to another level in this. He's already an All-NBA first-team guy. You're seeing so much buzz like, this guy is going to be in the MVP running, right? Like, if OKC can win enough games. Because that's really the final part. To be like Luka. It's a perfect example where he fills up a box score, he scores a ton, he takes over games when needed. They just got to win enough games in OKC, and there's a lot of promise going into next year.
You just have to win.
Yeah.
And everybody will doubt him in a way until they win. Is he just a air quotes stats guy? But you got to be hyped for this OKC team.
Yeah.
The way how hard they play. You add Chet Holmgren to a lineup with Shai and Josh Giddey and Jalen Williams and just a very deep team. I'm getting all excited watching Paolo Banchero for the Magic and watching even Lowry and Simone Fontecchio, but this OKC team it ain't fake. Shea's not fake. I mean, he's dominating out there.
I saw he was the first Canadian with back-to-back 30-point games since Leo Rautins as an 18-year-old.
I saw that.
Leo Rautins has been around so long, he's retired now. That's crazy.
Yes, yeah. In elimination games.
I don't know if he's retired, but he's living retirement style life out there.
Yeah.
He's in the pool every day.
Well,
man.
yeah, he loves the pool.
I thought you meant retire from basketball.
He's certainly
definitely
retired from basketball.
Yeah, he's sipping wine and shooting hoops on his pool hoop, and not a real hoop. But yeah, back-to-back 30-point games for Shea in elimination games.
Yeah.
It's just hard to ask him to do it again against Serbia. That's why I'm slightly concerned, and I think that's fair because he was like keeled over.
Yeah.
Leo Routins, the boy from Keele Street. He was keeled over. He was literally on his, he
would get fouled and he would fall to the ground and he would like do the thing where like people come over, the teammates come over to help him up and they do like just give me a sec. Let me just catch my breath a little bit here. I'm a little tired because I've been sort of carrying the team. But he's going to need help from RJ, like who really came through in that second half, and Brooks hitting some threes, and Dort, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Olynyk with his playmaking, because they play Serbia. Let's talk quickly about them. They advanced to the semis with a big win over Lithuania, who obviously had sort of shocked a lot of people beating Team USA. But for the third time, Trey, in the last 4 FIBA World Cup events, Serbia is through to the semifinals, and a lot of it was bogey there.
Serbia's good. And Bogdanovic is really, really good. He's definitely the head of the snake. He's the guy that gets the ball when there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock, try and make something happen. But their offense just cooks. They got good shots every single time down, it looked like, against Lithuania. The ball movement is great. They had so many wide open layups at the hoop against the Lithuanian team that played really good defense against Team USA. I'm sure also maybe a little bit of a letdown game for Lithuania, having such an awesome basketball moment, taking down Team USA in the second group stage there. But yeah, Serbia is tough. Yep. They beat Team USA in the World Cup in 2019. Bogdanovic had 28 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. The guy's a FIBA killer for sure. And in that game, when Serbia beat the USA hit 23s. So this team can win even if they don't necessarily have a shooting advantage. Of course, they had Jokic playing back then, so things will be different. But this should be a pretty solid game, I think, on that half of the bracket.
Yeah, Bogdan's so impressive. 21 points. He was on fire in the first half, making 8 shots. And you think, he's just firing away from 3. But he was getting to the rim. And this Serbian team will run on Canada. I don't know if that extra day's rest is going to mean much, but you just have to be ready every possession. They get to the glass. 6 of his shots were in the lane. 5 were layups in the first half. And they're not all jumpers. They like Trey said, they look for good shots. They get them. This team is not just him. It's not as top heavy as Slovenia is to me. They've got other guys. They're more well-rounded. Bogdan only had to hit 1 shot in the second half, and this team won. And it wasn't a blowout going into the halftime anyway. Stefan Jovic hit 3 threes in the third quarter. Nikola Jovic didn't even have to do anything really in this game. It was quiet. And Filip Petrusev, who will be the guy that the Canadians will have to bang with. I mean, he could outscore Powell, Olynyk for sure. He had 17 in this game. So they got weapons. They have lots of them.
Yeah, Lithuania had 15 turnovers in this game too, and a lot of those were like the live ball variety, so Serbia was scoring in transition. I believe 8 of those were just Serbian steals, and they were scoring easily that way. Bogdanovic, just a quick note about him. This was his 9th game with 20-plus points since the start of the last World Cup in 2019. No other player has more than 7 in that same span. He's over 400 points scored in the World Cup in his career, becoming the 6th man to reach that milestone in this century. This guy is a bucket. I mean, he is. This is going to be fun to watch because that's one of the calling cards for Canada is, hey, we have 2 really good defenders in Dylan Brooks, and if he gets in foul trouble, which he will, Lou Dort comes in. And, even Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Shea can obviously get matched up and hang. So there's a lot of good perimeter defenders to try and slow someone like Bogdanovic, but it's whether or not these other guys can help him out. Like, he's not going to be able to do it himself. Just like Shea really won't be able to either. It's going to need like 3 or 4 guys to like hit threes, hit the glass, and this should be a great game at 4:45 a.m.
You think Jokic and Murray are going to fly out for the game?
Wow, interesting. Probably not.
They'll just tune in on playback?
Yeah, the Joker can't leave his horses. No way. At least
too
not
early.
that quickly. Yeah. And Jamal? No. I haven't seen. Where is he actually? I don't know. He was
Kitchener, I guess,
He
yeah.
was in Canada with the team when they were getting ready before they head out for the warm-up games. I'm not sure where he is. So no, probably not. But we'll be there on playback, like I said. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Team USA bouncing back. They crushed Italy 100-63 to reach the semifinals. So the thing that changed, look at this little dancing.
Joe
man.
Burrow's going in.
So after falling behind by double figures in the first half in 3 of their 5 games in the tournament, Team USA sprinted out to a 10-point lead and sort of didn't look back from there, Trey. They came out aggressive in this one.
Mamma mia. Bad timing for Italy. Playing Team USA after a loss. Team USA was playing full court defense against Italy, which they definitely did against Lithuania when they were trying to make a comeback, but this was just kind of a continuation of the second half of Lithuania. Team USA saying, we're not going to get beat here. Anthony Edwards was moving the ball. The team basically got on him saying, yeah, man, you can score every single time. We all can. So pass it around a little bit. It worked, which I thought was a huge change for Team USA because Edwards was good against Lithuania, but definitely had tunnel vision. I thought seemed like he was just trying to set the record for points for Team USA in that one. Mikal Bridges was a star. They're calling him Mike over there in the Philippines. But yeah, he was getting out in transition. Then he just got into a nice flow, getting wide open shots. And Team USA looked like the usual Team USA. People are saying, did they tank the game against Lithuania to get a better draw here in the knockout round? I don't know, but it worked out.
Oh, Mike. I like this story that apparently the Americans talked to Anthony Edwards before the game and said, you got to pass a little bit more, Anthony Edwards.
Occasionally.
And he did that a little bit more, and he had the biggest smile of anyone on the American team. Joe Vard writing that for The Athletic. Maybe he was watching us on playback, because we definitely talk about Anthony Edwards having a little bit of tunnel vision when he's being himself. There's a lack of playmaking on that starting unit, and that's why when the bench comes in and Tyrese Halliburton comes in, things explode. The threes started raining down. The ball pressure is increased even more, and Mikal Bridges was the benefit of the ball movement, dropping 8 of 11. He looked phenomenal with those 24 points, 4 threes. Of the Americans, 17 threes. They were just raining down in this game. And they didn't turn over Italy a lot, but you could just see the athleticism when they did. 25 points off 14 turnovers. When they want to run, that's a lot. I mean, that's almost a bucket per turnover because they really were into playing D, as Trey said. They're pressing. Yeah. In the first half, in the second half, they wanted to play. They know it's a 40-minute game. We're 10 deep. We can do this.
Yeah, it's smart because the Italians, they like run sort of a motion offense. So you start half court trapping them, full court pressing them. You get them out of that rhythm. It worked. The other thing is the Italians couldn't hit a shot. I mean, we watched this one on playback. It was over in a hurry. Yeah. They shot 7 of 34 to start the game. I mean, it was bad. And then the other part, like the thing that gave the American team sort of trouble in the Lithuanian win, even in the Montenegrin game where they kept it close, they got big boys. They did work on the boards. USA got out-rebounded in those 2 games. But the Italians are much, much smaller, and USA had a 51-33 edge on the glass. So you take that part away, the one maybe weakness of this Team USA squad, and you're going to romp a team like they did 100-63. Highlight of the game, I guess, was Halliburton off of a steal, sort of a trap at half court, going between his legs in midair for the alley-oop to Banchero there, who threw it down. They were all skipping down the court. Mm-hmm. And, of course, then you saw people upset online. Oh, they're rubbing it in. You shouldn't be doing that when you're up 30. Oh, boy. Anyway.
Not as bad as when Sean Kemp grabbed his nuts, huh? Who could forget?
No, not as bad as that. Any other thoughts there on
I forgot.
That American game?
forgot about Kemp grabbing his nuts.
Oh.
I totally forgot about that.
Well, Germany is our final one here into the Final Four. They're going to play Team USA. That one's at a more respectable 8:40 a.m. We'll be on playback for that as well. But they squeezed past Latvia 81-79 to get into the semifinals. Franz Wagner's back, came off the bench, scored 16, And Germany here is the last unbeaten team in the World Cup. Like, they still haven't got a loss, and they're going to try and keep that going against USA. But what do you think of this game?
Well, they got size. Like Franz Wagner, 8 boards, even though he's not big. He plays big, and Tice is big. Mo Wagner is big. They've got Johannes Voigtmann, who's also a big boy. So they should have that advantage, I think, over the Americans. Dennis Schroeder was horrible in this game, and they were still able to manage to beat a Latvian team that I'm going to miss watching these games. I'm going to miss Artur Zagars. I'm going to miss that guy.
Yeah, he's fun.
He's fun. And he'll probably be stateside someday. I saw John Hollinger writing about him. Anyways, yeah, he's a great guard. Not anytime soon coming over, but the Germans they're stacked. I mean, they are very well-rounded. Stacked maybe isn't the wrong word, but they're a really well-rounded team.
Yeah, I thought it was impressive for Germany to get a win with Schroeder playing the worst game he's played for Germany, at least during this FIBA run, including, their friendlies and that kind of stuff. Germany had this one in the bag, though, and they almost completely blew it. Came down to a shot for Bertans, really deep shot, but he was open. Pretty good look. People are saying, should he have given the ball back to Zagars? Maybe so. But it would have... It was a scramble situation. I'm impressed that Bertans got the stop and the board.
Yeah.
He got Schroeder to pick up the ball once, and then he D'd him up again, got the board. They had a look at it. Didn't go down, but Germany played Team USA pretty well in their friendlies. I remember they beat Canada, and I think they blew one against Canada as well. So they've been really tough throughout this FIBA schedule here, and I'm assuming this game is going to be a tight one as well.
Yeah, so who do you have going through to the World Cup final? Like I said, we got Canada, Serbia, USA, Germany. I don't know the line for that first game, but I saw USA favored by 10.5 over the unbeaten Germans. Maybe disrespectful there, but who do you like? Are we going to get the dream matchup for us at least? USA versus Canada?
I hope so. I think so. Why the heck not? Canada's playing it. Canada's more of the question mark. Mm-hmm. They're playing above their heads. I just think Shea is playing out of this world. He's got to keep it up against Serbia. That's not easy. I'm more worried about that game.
I think we got the No Dunks Bowl coming.
Let's hope so.
And the No Dunks Cup, I suppose, for this one. But yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking Team USA is through, but they should be the favorites there. Of course, they've got a lot of depth, and the things that Germany is great at aren't necessarily the things that are going to beat Team USA. I don't know that Germany is going to completely destroy the glass the way Lithuania did. And then I think the other one is going to be a little bit tighter, Serbia and Canada, just because that Serbian team has played together for such a long time. They've got some big dudes as well. It kind of comes down to the backcourts. Dylan Brooks has been really, really good so far. Can he have a stinker? It'll probably happen at some point, but maybe not until the NBA season. Shea, I think we'll just keep it up. So Shea versus Bogey. You're taking Shea at this point.
Yeah, let's hear from everybody out there who you got going through to the gold medal game with those 4 remaining teams. I will note 8 of the 12 Olympic men's basketball spots for the 2024 games in Paris, they've been filled. Host France, you got USA and Canada, Germany and Serbia because Slovenia lost and they advanced, so they're through from the Europe region. Australia, South Sudan, and Japan. So those other 4 spots, that's 8 of 12, those other 4 spots will be filled by the winner of these last chance tournaments in July. And, obviously some good teams that I did not list there that'll be hoping to get in there, Slovenia being one of them. They're not there right now. They'll have to qualify, and will that mean, Luka, after they would hope to have a long playoff run in Dallas, does he go then, straight to that qualifying tournament and then right from there into the Olympics if they were to make it? It's a lot of basketball, which is why it was huge, a team like Canada especially, to qualify for the Olympics so they don't have to do that particular tournament come July.
Yeah, we've got some big NBA names going to be playing in that qualifying tournament.
Probably.
The Bahamas will be playing in that qualifying tournament with DeAndre Ayton, Eric Gordon, Buddy Hield. We've got Turkey, Şengün. They'll be, in the various tournaments. They'll be making it happen. But it's going to be a packed summer.
Yeah, will Karl Anthony Towns be playing again for the Dominican Republic to try and get them into the Olympics?
Probably.
Yeah, we'd think so. So it could be fun, some of these last chance tournaments. But that's in July. That's our thoughts on the FIBA World Cup so far. Again, we've been enjoying the hell out of these games. So join us tomorrow morning if you're a sicko, or maybe you're somewhere else in the world and it's a lot better for you. 4:45 a.m. We'll probably go live around 4:30 a.m. for Canada,
You
Serbia.
want to wake up early? You want to do a pregame? You want to get up early
I
at 4:30?
gotta get up. I gotta make a coffee. I gotta fire up the playback, say hello to the people. We'll be around 4:30 or so. And then I don't know what's going to happen in the gap. Like, that game should be over by what? 7? Like 2.5 hours?
No, they're shorter.
Not even
shorter than that, yeah.
Well, I might just go back to bed then, and then get up for USA Germany. And we are hoping, no doubt that we want a Canada USA gold medal game, but do not be shocked at all if Serbia beats Canada or hell Germany beats USA. These are two really, really good squads, and they're obviously coming into it as sort of like quote-unquote underdog, being overlooked. So they'll have that little chip on their shoulder as well. Can't wait for those. That's tomorrow, though. Let's take our first break. When we come back, a little NBA question.
I am starting to wear collared shirts again. I got one on now. I've decided I want to dress up, and a button-up is dressy for me. I also have a lot of them. What I don't have a lot of is suits, and I don't want to break the bank buying a suit. Looking sharp, it shouldn't be expensive. With a custom fitted suit from Indochino, you'll create priceless memories without costing a fortune. Customize every detail on your suit, or shirt, or dinner jacket in a range of colors. I've got fine Indochino dress shirts customizing the buttons, the monograms, the cuffs. Oh, I forgot to change my Apple Watch band. I also have a new dressier watch band.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, I'm the type of guy now puts a metal watch band on my Apple Watch. That's me, and I'm good with it. When I shop at Indochino, I do everything online. Got my measurements loaded on the website. There's plenty of options for fabrics, lapel shape, custom monograms, statement linings, and more. They also have tuxedos starting at $579. Why rent when you could buy a custom tux you can have for life? Indochino also offers completely custom fitted shirts, casual wear, and more at very reasonable prices. RSVP knowing you've got the perfect look all wedding season long from Indochino. Go to Indochino.com and use code NODUNKS to get 10% off any purchase of $3.99 or more. That's INDOCHINO.com, promo code NODUNKS.
Nice to see that fly still living here in the Classic Factory.
It's right there.
Yeah. We haven't been here in a while, but there he is.
I think it's bigger.
I think so.
No.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know what Trey was looking at the beginning of the show, whether it was a I think I got it.
Oh, you got it.
a piece.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
bounced off me.
There it is.
Well done, Tassie.
There it is.
Like a cat.
Yes.
Just plucking it out of the air.
There's flies everywhere. Trey was looking at the nick on my neck earlier in the show.
All right, one down,
Weird
99
stuff.
to go. What's going on?
It's fly season.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
wedding season and it's fly season.
That's right. And football season, I guess.
I
too.
guess.
All right, the NBA offseason's been quiet for a few months now, and that sort of is news in and of itself. But the 2024 season right around the corner, so we need to start getting our minds back in game shape. Thankfully, our friends over at ESPN had a few key questions surrounding the landscape of the season that I thought we could tackle here. And the first one, guys, which team is in the best position to knock off those champion Denver Nuggets?
We're going to the top.
Why not?
When I think of this question, I think it's unreasonable to think of an Eastern Conference team. I just feel like it's cheap, you know?
Yeah, because it sounds weird that an Eastern Conference team would knock off the team that also made it from the other conference. I mean, I guess.
They can. They can.
Yeah.
I want to start in the West. And I think there's several teams. I think the Warriors have a shot. I think the Suns have a shot. But I'm surprising myself. I'm going to say the Lakers. I'm going to say the Los Angeles Lakers. I think the second half for the Lakers showed that this team is really, really solid. And with all those acquisitions that they're going to have for the entire season next year, I think it's going to help LeBron and Anthony Davis be fresher in the playoffs. They got so much younger. They played so much faster. That's exactly what LeBron and Anthony Davis need. Austin Reeves is that third star that they've been looking for. He looks phenomenal. I do like the Gabe Vincent signing to just be that tough dude to play, sort of a platoon with D'Angelo Russell. So now I think you have four solid players. I think Rui Hachimura, he shined in LA. Some players do, some players don't, and he did. We'll get to another signing a little later in the show that the Lakers did that will, I think, help the longevity of Anthony Davis when he goes into the playoffs. And that's really what it really comes down to. AD versus Jokic, if we're talking about these two teams. Mm-hmm. And AD's got to be fresh. And he showed he's a great defensive player. I think he's learned how to keep his body fresh for the postseason, even though we all know he gets the nicks and the knacks throughout the regular season. He did play throughout the postseason. He did get outplayed by Jokic, there's no doubt. But I think they've learned to keep him fresh, and yeah, they match up well. There's just not a lot of teams that match up well with the Nuggets because of Jokic, and AD can, if he's ready. And I'll pick them right now. I'll change my mind in a couple weeks, but I'll go with them.
That's right. That's right. This is early September. We are not locked into any of these predictions. Okay, but you're going Lakers. What do you got?
I actually agree with Tass. I think it's the Lakers, though I do wish they had like a beef guy. We'll talk about Christian Wood later. He's not a beefy type, and they are still going to be missing that against Jokic.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Davis couldn't guard Jokic. They didn't even try him on him. It was like Rui Hachimura. It was LeBron, and it took LeBron out of the game. Like, LeBron did a solid job on Jokic, and he had no legs in the fourth quarter. So I do think it's the Lakers. They got swept last year against the Nuggets. It was still close, people like to say, but they still got swept. They got better, but they've got LeBron and AD, so that puts them ahead. But you look at Phoenix. They won 2 against Denver. In the playoffs, they added Brad Beal, they added Eric Gordon, and a bunch of guys that everybody likes on minimum contracts. That being said, the 2 wins they got, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker went for 80 points in both of those games. So they can still do it. Exactly. You got to try and outscore it. But, man, Jokic is such a cheat code because, like, Phoenix has a number 1 draft pick center. And he has no chance against Jokic, and Jokic will just put him in the basket, and that's without going into the fact that they got the best starting lineup out there. So the team that's most likely to beat Denver this year is in the Eastern Conference, definitely.
And
the Milwaukee Bucks.
Milwaukee? Okay, I thought you were going to go Boston.
They've got size. Nah, Milwaukee, Boston too small. The Bucks are big. They've got size, they got defense, and they got Giannis. All of the Nuggets have basically said, the Timberwolves played us the hardest last year. Yeah. It's because they had 2 7-footers, and so did the Bucks. So I think that's the team that has the best chance against Denver.
All right. Well, let's hear from everybody out there joining us live on YouTube, listening to the podcast later. You can tweet at us at NoDunksInc, INC on the end. You can leave them in the YouTube comments. Your answers to all these questions. Which team is in the best position to knock off the Nuggets? Next one here. Which team needs to make the playoffs or show marked improvement? Which, like, they're under the gun to really start turning things around, Tass, and start getting some wins. Either a team that's sort of on the precipice of being good and need to get in the playoffs, or a team that's like been bad for a long time and needs to start winning some damn games. Where you go?
Well, it's the Pelicans. They have so many question marks. Zion's looking good in the gym, working out now, and it's just a question of him being on the floor, as we all know. It's not a question about talent. It's not a Ben Simmons question. But if he can't be on the floor, then question marks in the front office, question marks with the rest of the roster and Brandon Ingram, and now there's a Trey Murphy. I will always call Trey Murphy. Troy Murphy,
Warriors legend.
Yeah, absolute legend. He's
available.
He played too early.
Troy Murphy was ahead of his time.
Oh, you know it.
Wow. He was a gunner. That's a hot take right there.
He was a gunner. But speaking of gunners, Trey Murphy III injured. He had an incredible second half to the season. Only Curry and Clay hit more threes. He was on fire, hit 42% of his threes after the All-Star break. But he's shown throughout his year here, throughout his 2 years, that he is a great three-point shooter. Just perfect to play around Ingram, McCollum, and Zion. He had 200 threes last year, and now he's hurt some meniscus injury. Yeah. I doubt he'll start the season, but let's say he's not there, and they get out to a bad start. Yes, heads may roll, and they just may not be able to come back from it just because they don't have shooting. They're 23rd in threes made last year, and if he's not there, I mean, you're just hoping that Herb Jones has a bounce back year. And he's just good. I mean, he's a really good player. Athleticism. He's in a dunk contest. He can throw down. He just fits so well with those guys. So, yeah, when he's not there, the puzzle pieces they're just so much more non-fitting. They don't fit as well. So I think that's key. He should hopefully get back because there's so many injury concerns, obviously, with that team.
Mm-hmm. Who are you going with?
I think the Pelicans is good, and I did see Zion working out. He looks like he's in shape, but it looks like his gym is like a garage.
Yeah,
a flat screen on the wall, a cabinet with like normal door pulls on it. Very weird. Yeah. I was like, did he just stop at Will Guillory's house and get a workout in here? There's a lot of teams I think that need to make some improvement. The Mavericks went 38-44 last year. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They tanked it away at the end of the season, but that was like 1 week of tanking. They just couldn't put things together after the Kyrie Irving trade and obviously the long season war on Luka. So I think that's an easy one. I think the Timberwolves need to look more cohesive. They got better as the second half of the season came along last year, and like we said, they played the Nuggets okay in the playoffs, but they got to be better. In the Eastern Conference, for me, it's our hometown Atlanta Hawks right here. They made the conference finals, surprisingly, in the 21 season. Then they won a fewer percentage of their games in the 22 season, and then last year, just 41-41. They did make it back to the playoffs, but things have changed now around Atlanta. We got a new coach in town in Quinn Snyder. He's there for a full season. John Collins was finally traded. Didn't bring anything back. People are going to start looking at Trae Young even more so if the Hawks continue to be kind of like a middling team. And it always comes down to the start of the season for Atlanta. It feels like where they just come out and they are not ready to start the season. So they need to come out and have a big October, November, and get Trae Young to the All-Star game. Like, if Trae Young makes the All-Star game, the Hawks are going to have a good season because it means he's been playing well the whole year.
Yeah, I'll go with a team that, to me, is like a little similar to the Hawks in the West. The Timberwolves, I think, need to show marked improvement, like, right away. Be a playoff team, of course. I mean, they should be flirting sort of with home court advantage, I think, in the Western Conference, or at least that's the design of this squad. And if they get off to a slow start, oh, my God, then you're going to hear nonstop Karl Anthony Town trade rumors, because it will be like, get out of the way and give it to Anthony Edwards, and we've got Gobert. We don't think we'll get the package we would get for him if we moved him, so we got to move Cat. And I like some of the moves they made. I'm telling everybody to buy as much Nickeil Alexander Walker stock as you can. They have like some depth on this squad. They should be good, but they cannot start slow, just like the Hawks here in the East. So to me, I sort of have them circled as like, they got to come out and look competent and try and make these pieces work, because at least they had the excuse last year of Karl Anthony Towns getting injured, and we didn't see a lot of Gobert and Cat. And so we didn't even know really how it worked and if it could work and whatever, along with Anthony Edwards sort of blossoming into an all-star player. So, they got to figure all this out. I actually have some expectations for this team, but they can't start slow, because, man, those trade whispers they'll be loud. They'll be trade yells.
Yeah.
Because you'll have to make that move, I would think, if they start badly.
The Cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how could they? If they started 5-15, or 7-20, like,
yeah, it'll either be that or Chris Finch. Somebody will be gone.
Well,
from Minnesota.
That's usually the first. Yep. You're right. That's the first domino. But and then somebody else comes in, and same personnel. And if you can't get it to work, then it's going to move off Cat.
And they've been playing fine under Chris Finch. They haven't been playing poorly under him. It's about a 500 record since he got there. They just have to be a little bit more cohesive. They have the parts, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And it's about coaching, I think, with both these teams, with the Atlanta Hawks as well. There's a lot of belief in Quinn Snyder and getting a lot out of these guys. And Trae Young has a big belief in Quinn Snyder. But it's got to be on him. And this team that, decreased their talent in trading John Collins. But if there's an increase in, hey, we're playing together and buying in, then they have so much talent. Trae's not done. He's this trajectory of Trae, being a selfish player or being looked at as a selfish player it's got to stop. Even his cohorts, his colleagues weren't voting for him as an all-star, as a guy who's going 30-10 last year going into the all-star break. Things got to change. And I do believe in Quinn. And they had that nice runway of last year of having Quinn in the fold. So that's a good start, I think, for them.
All right, final one here. Which notable signing, extension, or trade will be deemed an early success? Trey, let's start with you.
We always talk about FIBA competitions being a springboard for success into the NBA. Could it be Dylan Brooks? With the Houston Rockets?
I was not expecting this.
I was not expecting this, Skeets, but I'm like, he's been great in FIBA. He was key in getting them to the knockout round. He had a great second half. Who did they end up beating? Latvia, right? Mm-hmm. They needed Dylan Brooks. If Dylan Brooks plays as well for Houston as he has been for Canada and gives the same leadership, gets kicked out occasionally from a game, trash talks, shows up with boxing gloves, I think that's awesome for the Rockets. I don't know if I'm necessarily buying into it, if it will happen, if you want him to be as big of a part of your team in the NBA as he is for Canada, I don't know. But a lot of players have success in a World Cup and take it into the NBA. it could be Dillon Brooks with the Houston Rockets. The shots shall be there.
Yeah, he was instrumental in the win against Spain. Obviously in the knockout there. He's won in the Latvian game as well. Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet, are they going to be like the difference makers there with Udoka in Houston to actually start winning some games?
As far as the temperament, the locker room goes, those guys can have a big impact, Udoka included.
Yeah.
But the guys who are going to take them to the next level are Jalen Green, Şengün, and Jabari Smith, really, to get them to the next level, which is 35 wins. And I think the guys who will get credit for it in the mainstream will probably be Dillon Brooks and Udoka, and maybe some Fred, but I think the guys who I believe in Jalen Green, I believe in Şengün, I believe in Jabari Smith. I think they have a lot of talent, but I think as far as just being a professional, Brooks is going to help do that. I'm buying in as well, and he could play.
Just stop there and think about how funny that sounds.
Yeah, but you're not
professionalism and Dillon Brooks.
Yeah. But as far as just showing up and playing hard, the Rockets haven't had that in years.
Right.
He doesn't have to be good. He doesn't have to like
Well, that would help.
It would help. But what's good mean? I mean, 12 points a game, playing really
Good for
hard.
Dillon Brooks is not shooting your team out of a game.
That's right.
That's when he's a great player, because you know he's going to give it 100% on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And he is an elite defender because he tries his ass off, and I mean that's half a defense, right? Like giving a damn on that end. It's when he gets in trouble is when he gets a little too shot happy, thinks he has to take over, and then you're looking at the 5 for 19 box scores. Mm-hmm. When it's 5 for 12, no one blinks, no one cares. That's perfectly fine. Hit a couple threes, maybe get to the line a couple times, you're happy. It's when he thinks he turns into or he thinks he's Kobe for a second. You're like, what are you doing, man? That's it.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a couple things going for the Rockets. Number one, I mean, Dillon Brooks, yes, he got a big contract, but he also just got kicked off a team in the Memphis Grizzlies, so I think that has to wake him up a little bit. But also, there's a floor general in Fred VanVleet, and there's other guys who want to shoot. Jalen Green is going to shoot plenty. Jabari Smith and Şengün, they all have to have the rock. So I think he can help. And again, it's 5 for 10. Well, that's a great night, actually. More like 4 for 12, playing ridiculously hard. And, just helping turn around that locker room. And those will be the guys who get the credit because Dillon Brooks is the headline all the time. But I think Udoka is going to have a big part in that locker room.
Well, we saw he wasn't afraid to call out superstars in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I don't know why he'd be afraid to try and reel in Dillon Brooks when he needs to be reeled in. And VanVleet can probably help with that too. He's basically a floor general. So I'm loving the Dillon Brooks praise. I mean, I'm just a little shocked I'm hearing it. Mm-hmm. But if you have been watching how he's played for Team Canada, you can see why these guys are saying this. And can he just carry that over to the Rockets? Maybe.
Hey, second on my list was Dennis Schroeder, man.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
He's been balling in FIBA, too.
He has been.
You only get the credit for the bump, though, if you're a young player. If you're a Lauri Markkanen dominating for Finland, they're like, what if he brings this to his NBA team? What if Dennis Schroeder is a 20-point-per-game scorer for the Raptors? That'd be big.
He could be, but that may not be a good sign that the Raptors are winning a bunch of games, but... He was amazing. I mean, he had one stinker there. We talked about it, 4-26. Otherwise, he's been on the short list for all tournament team.
He's going to play, and that's why I'm telling you it's not that bad of an offseason for the Raps, even though they lost Fred VanVleet. The drop-off isn't going to be that bad. From a 41-win team to a 38.5 win team.
38.5 win team.
That's their over-under line. I just made it. It's probably it's going to be lower because there's far less expectations, but really, why should the expectations be all that different? It's going to be a mediocre team. That's fine. Schroeder's not going to be an all-star. But temper your expectations, and at least they're not doing the same thing over and over again. I want to talk about one guy who's in this FIBA world that is kind of flying under the radar because he was just in a qualifying tournament, and that's DeAndre Ayton. We talked about a guy who hasn't been trusted by Monty Williams, is going into a new relationship with Frank Vogel as his head coach in Phoenix. And if they are going to be a threat to the Denver Nuggets, he's got to be good. And he's played Jokic twice in the playoffs in 21. Yeah, he got beat pretty bad, even though the Suns were able to move on in that series. Jokic still gave it to him, and then he gave it to him even worse here this season. He played for the Bahamas this offseason in a pre-qualifying tournament where he was one of the leaders. And I'm buying a little bit too much into body language, but he was in the huddles calling stuff out, being way different. He's not a vocal guy, but if he could be anything like that, Frank Vogel can pull something out of that from that pre-qualifying tournament to just step up to Jokic, just to be a more physical presence. He doesn't have to score with Durant, Beal, and Booker, but they need him so badly. And so if you just get a little upgrade, at center against Jokic, yeah, I'm just buying into Vogel and buying into the locker room and a new relationship with the head coach. He's got the talent, as Trey said, a number 1 overall pick. Let's hope he can grow a little bit. They also need big defensive performances because they might struggle on the perimeter a little bit, with Beal and Booker being their backcourts. So they've got the talent. And we didn't even mention Beal as being a guy who could come in and drop 25. They're going to win a lot of games.
Beal's going to be fun because there's going to be a lot of like, oh yeah, Bradley Beal. He's really good at scoring. Like, he's going to have some monster games here, even if he's playing alongside Booker and KD. He's going to have games where he's like easily scoring 30, 35, and people are like, oh yeah, he can do that. So that'll be fun. That'll happen early. I like the Ayton pick there. My problem, though, is like we get like, I'm guilty as well. Like, we get so caught up in, look at this guy in FIBA, man. Look at this guy. He's a leader. He's going for 25 and 10s. We see it all the time from these guys that are like, just solid, decent role players in the NBA, but they're leaders, they're superstars in the international setting, and it's apples to oranges, right? It's just a different environment, different setting, and the pecking order, and it doesn't always, like, sometimes you can see people bring it over, but not all the time. In fact, more times than not, you don't. Like, you're gonna get excited about watching Bogdanovic right now, but are you gonna be like, this guy's gonna be scoring 25 in the NBA this season?
No, he's had too many World Cup runs where we talk about how good he's been.
I know.
Yeah. He looks different. I don't think I can remember a layup with the Atlanta Hawks, but he drives to the rim. He looks so different. But with DeAndre Ayton, I'm not expecting on-court development. I don't care if he scores 20 points with the Suns. They don't need that. Yeah. He just needs to have a mental change.
Sure. And maybe Vogel.
Maybe Vogel can do that. I'm hoping there's a Vogel-Hibbert reincarnation where he does something just defensively with this guy. That's all it. And maybe just a new relationship without Chris Paul being in the mix. So maybe they need it desperately.
You think we might have verticality back in our lives?
Bring back Roy,
with Vogel, and Ayton. Any other notable signings, extensions, trades that you think could be an early success you're excited about?
Austin Reeves is actually good. This guy's legitimately good, and him going up another level will make the Lakers go up another level. A deep cut, though, I like Obi Toppin on the Pacers, and I think he's going to show out playing alongside Tyrese Halliburton. And early in the season is the key to me here, because early in the season, he'll be out running. You'll only notice the good parts of Obi Toppin's game, and maybe not Rick Carlisle deciding to keep him on the bench because he forgets about some stuff defensively, or a lack of being a real three-point threat, things that will kind of pile up as the season goes on and more games are played and the scouting report changes. But I do think he'll look nice running the wing next to Halliburton. This guy's going to get some easy dunks, and he's a great dunker.
Yeah, that's a good call. Like, in these first couple of weeks, he's going to be on all these like top 10s because he'll be throwing down dunks in transition from Halliburton. He catches fire from the corner too. He actually can shoot a little bit. He's a little streaky, but he could have some big games there early. I like that one. Anything else on your list?
No, I think we're talking about streaky shooters. Sasha Vezenkov with the Kings. I think the Kings are sort of, they're flying under the radar because they sort of impressed last year.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
And I don't see them dropping off in any way. Now, it's really hard to go from surprise team to championship type team, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think Sasha Vezenkov and his shooting, he plays the European game where he moves and he cuts. You want to talk about highlights in a different way, a shooting way? I think he'll be part of that. And if they want to get to the next level, they got to play defense. But Vezenkov is a nice little signing, and it's little in that it's not going to make them a championship threat unless they start to play defense. But he's fun. He's a lefty, so that's adds to the fun part, and he shoots it kind of funny. But he's got a ridiculous percentage, ridiculous efficiency. That offense should be number one in the league again.
They added JaVale McGee too, didn't they?
They sure did.
Some locker room vibes, some championship pedigree.
Every former Warrior, come on in.
That's right. All right, there's a little NBA talk for you. We'll start ramping up our NBA coverage as we get closer and closer to the NBA season. It starts in less than 50 days.
Yeah, it does.
That sort of blows your mind, doesn't it? It's right around the corner.
These are going to be like some seriously long seasons for a guy like Luka to play through the
true.
FIBA World Cup, have a month off, not even, just a few weeks, go back into training camp, play an entire season, and then try to qualify, and then play in the Olympics. And then guess what? It's the next season. That's a lot of basketball.
50 days of hookah, though. He'll get it in.
You know what he needs? He needs a break, like we're going to take right now. Don't go anywhere.
You already know the vibes. Those are Shopify vibes. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. Whether you're selling new t-shirts or vintage t-shirts, Shopify simplifies selling online and in person so you can focus on successfully growing your business. Shopify covers every sales channel from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform, and it even lets you sell across social media marketplaces like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Packed with industry-leading tools ready to ignite your growth, Shopify gives you complete control over your business and your brand without having to learn any new skills in design or code. And thanks to 24/7 help and an extensive business course library, Shopify is there to support your success every step of the way. No matter how big you want to grow, Shopify is there to empower you with the confidence and control to revolutionize your business. I revolutionized the podcasting business once. I was the first guy to ever pull out an audio pocket dog.
Yeah, you were.
They said it couldn't be done. A visual joke in an audio format? No, you can do it all. And you can do it all with Shopify. Now's your turn to get serious about selling and try Shopify today. This is Possibility powered by Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/nodunks, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/nodunks to take your business to the next level today. Shopify.com/nodunks.
All right, before we get to Tweet of the Night, you said Troy Murphy accidentally instead of Trey Murphy
Yeah.
the third. I was looking up his basketball reference page. I was a little shocked. What do you think he averaged in his career, points and rebounds, and he played over 700 games?
He
a
played
lot of
that
games.
many
Played
games.
that many games. Played 12 years. What do you think he averaged?
I think it helped that he played for the Golden State Warriors in the bad days. So
He did indeed. In the early
14 and
2000s.
6.
Okay, Trey?
10 and 5.
Okay, split the difference, guys. 11 and 8.
That's a lot of boards.
Not bad.
That's pretty damn good. And, you said he was ahead of his time a little bit.
Yeah.
I assumed because, he's a big guy that could shoot.
Yep.
And I was like, really? Could he shoot that well? 1 year for the Pacers, not the Warriors. He hit 2.2 threes a game on 5 attempts. This guy was a big old white doofus.
That's why the Pacers loved him.
That's 45%. And he played in a lot of games. This wasn't small sample size. Like, that's legit really good. He averaged 14 that year and 12 boards. Troy Murphy, man. Troy Murphy was a problem.
People forget Troy Murphy was a bucket.
Yeah.
Who do you think he is for his similarity scores? Who do you think they got?
Can we get it? Like, is it possible?
I don't know. Is it?
Well, like, does he play like him, look like him?
I would say more looks like him.
Okay.
Austin Crozier.
Oh, fair. You got to
Jeff
incorporate the
Foster.
three-point
No. Oh.
shooting.
Yes.
Gotta
Bargnani.
No, we're not going to get this. Wally Zerbiak is his number one comp.
Wow.
Really? Serbiak was an all-star.
Stats comp.
That's a stats comp right there. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. 14th pick in the 2001 NBA draft, Troy Murphy.
Troy Murphy the second, now Trey Murphy the third. It's an unknown fact that Trey Murphy the second is actually Troy Murphy. What? Anyway,
What?
Trey Murphy the third plays for the Pelicans. Troy Murphy the second played for the Warriors and the Pacers, apparently.
Well, yes, and the Celtics.
Troy Murphy is
and the
Trey
Lakers,
Murphy's dad.
And the Mavs. There you go. That's a conspiracy a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah. That's why you can shoot the three so well.
That's right. Let's get to Tweet of the Night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Indochino. Oh, no. Here we are. All right. Tweet of the night. We hinted at it earlier. Christian Wood is a September signing, and he has signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. Everybody make more of this than it's actually going to pan out to be. Of course, that's the time.
Yeah.
Adrian Wojnarowski first with the news. And then this from our man Mark Spears. Christian Wood's statement to Anscape about signing with the Lakers. The former Mavericks forward opted not to discuss his former team, but he kind of hinted at it. So here's Wood's statement. I've always wanted to be a Laker. I know we can win a championship. Communication with a coach is a big key. Coach Ham and I go back to our Milwaukee days, and we've had great conversations every day about this opportunity. He believes in me and told me I'll be playing a big role and knows what I can do. Ham, I don't know if you want to do that this early. Anyways, I'm looking forward to this, and for sure motivated after what Dallas did. FASURE. One word.
For sure.
So Darvin Ham promising a big role. What kind of promise? I don't know if we're talking Morey Harden promise here, but that's in the eyes of Christian Wood. He's going to have a role on this Lakers team. What do you expect of Wood on this team, Trey?
I guess they have a relationship from back in the day, right? Christian Wood and Darvin Ham.
Yeah, the Bucks.
Two guys with nouns for last names, Wood and Ham. For a guy they got in September, for the veteran minimum, pretty good value. Christian Wood, he is indeed a bucket, but the expectations are so low because he scored 16 a game for the Dallas Mavericks last year, and they're like, no thanks. They're not a stacked team. They're a team that didn't even make it to the play-in tournament by their own volition, and they said, see you later, Christian Wood, because he's never played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's going to help in the regular season because Anthony Davis is going to miss games. Christian Wood plays very similarly to Anthony Davis on the offensive end. The defensive end, he would rather not play. I assume there will be games when Christian Wood is starting, but if you're picking up one of your starters in September, you didn't have a starter. So that's kind of how I feel about it here. It's kind of like the Lakers got to choose between Christian Wood and Bismack Biyombo. I don't know. I guess they went offense.
Yeah, he can pick and pop. Guy can shoot.
Yep.
And, for a big guy, he can hit the three with some consistency. But yeah, this is his 8th NBA team. Christian Immaculate Grid Wood. Wow.
Yeah, he's gonna be a good grid guy.
He's never played on a winning team except the team he was alluding to, where Darvin Ham was a part of the roster or the coaching staff. The Bucks. He played like a handful of minutes for that 2018-19 60-win Bucks team. Otherwise, he's played on bad teams and he gets stats. I wouldn't have the highest expectations in the world, but he'll have games where he goes for 20 and 10 and people will get very excited, especially him being a Laker now. But if he can rebound a little bit and he can hit the three and he can fill in, like you said, Tass, when Anthony Davis inevitably misses a couple weeks and sort of keep the team afloat, then you're fine. But he's going to, in theory, if he's on this team at come the playoffs and they're in it, he'll finally see some playoff action because he's never played a single playoff minute. That's crazy.
You want to talk about Troy Murphy numbers? This guy puts up numbers.
Murphy numbers.
Putting up Murph numbers. He's averaged 15 and 7 in this league, and had some big monstrous years. The Dallas Mavericks said, nah, not interested. Even that Milwaukee Bucks team that he refers to, that he has a relationship with Darvin Ham in 18-19, they released him.
Yeah, he got waived.
He's got to change it up. But I think, as far as him never playing in the playoffs, he may not play in the playoffs. I don't think the Lakers care. I don't think the Lakers care. Look at the Suns. They went and signed Bol as sort of a late August signing. It was an August signing. Compare that to this. You got to be excited if you're the Lakers. I know I don't think he's going to play a big role in the postseason, but his number one job is to eat minutes in the regular season so AD can sit and them to have a decent record when he plays.
So he's a relief pitcher. Come on in, man.
Yeah,
middle innings.
Sop up some innings.
Yeah, yes.
That's what they want from him.
Yeah, he'll be. I guess he's a relief starter. The starter games, the bullpen games that they're doing now in Major League Baseball. They have a guy come in for 2 innings to start a game.
Oh wow.
That's what Christian Wood will be. just to get AD to the playoffs fresher. That's the only real purpose, I think. But he's talented. He's freaking really talented. If anyone ever gets through to him, then it's an incredible signing.
I'll tell you who he's not. He's not Pau Gasol, Richard Sherman. All right? You can stop with those comparisons. Christian Wood is not Pau Gasol. Not even close. He'll maybe score a little bit. He'll get some stats. Maybe he can sop up some minutes when AD goes down. But he's not that great. He's on his 8th NBA team. If he was good, he'd be with these squads for longer. And a lot of those stats came on shitty teams. They were almost always crappy 20-win teams, and somebody's got to score. I don't want to pile on the guy, but I just don't think he's as good as some people think because they see the box score numbers and they go, whoa. it's I don't know. It's a bit of a mirage to me, my personal opinion.
But he's better than Jackson Hayes coming off the bench for the Lakers. And the Lakers have had some pretty good success with this recently, finding a guy on the scrap heap and rebuilding his value. They did it with Malik Monk. Had a good year with the Lakers, then went on to have got a nice contract and have a really nice season with the Kings. Similar with Schroeder as well on the Lakers last year, then going to the Raptors. So maybe this is another reclamation project. People look pretty good playing next to LeBron if you're willing to shoot it as soon as you get it, which he definitely is.
Yes, that's right. That's right. All right, so Christian Wood going to LA. Let's hear your thoughts on that. You think he can make an impact on this team? We're going to call it there because we got to go to sleep. I'm going to bed right now.
Right now.
Got to get up early tomorrow. Canada, Serbia, 4:30 a.m. Eastern. I like this little Canadian flag touch here, JD. Gorgeous stuff.
A lot of animations.
So that is on playback. That link is in the show notes. Make sure you join the No Dunks room. We're nearly at 4,000 in that community, so that's a blast. And then a little bit later in the morning, around 8:30, it'll be USA and Germany.
If you're wondering why we're laughing, you got to join us on YouTube to see these animations. This is a gentleman, as Trey said, kind of looks like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you feel about that freeze, JD? I know you're going to be mad at that later. Maybe.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
And,
JD's not taking the off season off.
No, he's not.
That's for sure.
And who do you like in the football game tonight? Chiefs, Lions. It's back, baby.
It's a tough one. I got to go with the Chiefs here.
Okay.
Yeah, the Lions are overhyped.
Oh, wow.
Lions are overhyped, man.
Yeah, a lot of buzz coming into this
Yeah,
year.
so they had a good half a season last year. What about the previous 40 years?
Okay. Tass, Chiefs, Lions.
Oh, I'm going with Patrick. Don't call me Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes, ahead of his time as a pitcher. He was a relief pitcher. He could be starting bullpen games. Yeah. He could be the Troy Murphy of today's Major League Baseball.
Give me the Lions.
Upset pick.
Is Kelsey playing tonight?
We
don't know.
Question.
We're
Great
not
question.
Sure. Give me Detroit. I'm buying the hype. And my buddy Grish will be ecstatic if they win. All right, let's call it there, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Go to nodunks.com. Get all your t-shirts and hoodies there. And we will see you tomorrow on Playback. And we will be planning, after the gold medal game to be either back here in the factory or jump. So join us tomorrow on Playback. Until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining, and remember, I just checked. Kelsey is playing.
Is he?
No, Kelsey Plum, she's playing. When you said Kelsey, I immediately thought of Kelsey Plum.
Interesting. Travis.
And I'm happy about that. Travis,
Yeah.
isn't he busy podcasting?
He does podcast with his brother Jason.
That's right.
Who looks like our Jason.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Embrace the pigskin, people.